Hello and welcome to the programme. Now, within the past few years, Ukraine has taken great strides in strengthening intellectual property rights and transforming corporate law. Many of these rules and regulations are now in line with international standards and conventions, a far cry from Soviet times when even the definition of copyright was relatively unknown. Yet many ordinary people are still unaware of their basic rights as consumers. Now, joining us to discuss this today is Anna Stefan, the head of Copyright and Related Rights Department at the Intellectual Property Research Institute. So Anna, thank you very much for coming into our studio and taking your time to come here today.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Tom.
So today it's a really interesting topic. We're talking about the law and mediation. And in this sort of aspect, I like to speak to you about intellectual law and also about corporate law as well, because in Ukraine this is quite a big issue. Actually, people and companies lose a lot of money because of this. So can you tell us a bit more about what intellectual property is and the sorts of disputes that you're involved in that you have to resolve as part of your work?
I'll try to tell it in a short manner, because this is a sphere I can discuss for ages.
I'm sure there's huge books.
Yes. Well, the biggest problem of Ukrainian society in this sphere is that during many years, when we had Soviet Union, law was absolutely different, because Soviet Union was trying to build its own system of copyright protection, and it was very, very special. It was not close to Berne Convention, to international law. It was different, absolutely different.
But I mean, can you talk to us about how it was in the Soviet Union in terms of...
This is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Mostly, we did not have private property. All property was in government hands. And mostly, intellectual property rights, copyright law, mostly was a part of kind of working law, because the author is working somewhere. The author as a worker has also some copyright, some rights as the author. But if you wanted to translate any work to any other language, you didn't have to ask the writer, may I translate your work? No, you were free to translate it, and you just have to give him an information. Hello, author, I made the translation of your work, and nothing more. Not pay him something.
Really? Nothing at all?
Really. If you wanted to have any other, to create any other derivative work based on some other work, except for changing kind of a roman to a script, to a movie script, except for some simple situations, mostly, you didn't have to ask the writer or copyright holder about to create this derivative work. You were absolutely free.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. And obviously it's changed a lot since the Soviet Union. Now there's different laws and different conventions which are in place. What are the most important ones? The most important conventions and the most important sort of safety laws which are in place for people who are involved in these disputes?
Ukraine is a part of all general international conventions in this sphere, so our law is very close to international standards. But law is not something that was made once and it exists forever in this form. No, it changes because of society changes, because technical and scientific progress, they bring new challenges, new needs, new problems, so law moves after them. And now we have very good copyright law, is very, very good.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And can you tell us maybe some examples of how there have been these disputes in the past, maybe not just with intellectual property, but also with corporate law as well, and how were they resolved?
Well, I mostly work with media companies, with some corporations, and who produce copyrighted work every day, hundreds of copyrighted works every day. So they have many simple questions, and sometimes they have some disputes with somebody else about using of some work, about was it a violation or no.
And actually, obviously you work with companies. Do they know much about intellectual property and their rights?
They have very good lawyers, they have big law departments, and the lawyers are very, very good. But sometimes the problem is not ordinary. Sometimes it's something that they don't have in their everyday work, and they need some more advice.
Is there a certain sort of mediation technique as well? A lot of disputes settled outside the court or are they more settled within the court? What's the trend in Ukraine?
I use something like mediation techniques in my life, because many people know that I'm a lawyer, so they can call me or ask me about some advices, and sometimes it helps them. Just simple advice, even without a meeting with the opposite side, just advice to one person, sometimes it helps, and this is very good. And I have some examples if you
please,
would like to.
Can you tell us?
For example, one lady, she went to the shopping and she bought some clothes. It was sale time and she got all these clothes with a huge discount. When she came back home and tried what she bought, she found that one t-shirt does not suit her a lot. Everything is finest quality, everything is good. It's just a model or a color or something like this is not very good for her. So next day she decided to bring it back to a shop. And when she came, they told her, sorry, it's a discount time. You bought it with very small price. You can't bring it back. And she told me, oh, I didn't know about it. This is so sad. But in fact, consumer law has list of goods that can't be returned. For example, underwear. If you bought it, enjoy
That's it. You have to
enjoy it. Yeah, it's yours. It's yours. But mostly these goods, they have such information that no return. This good can't be returned. Discount time is not a reason to refuse to bring a good back and bring money back. Only if something is wrong with the quality of a good. For example, it was damaged. Or
there's some defect or something like this.
Defect, but this information should be put on a good. And the person who decides to buy it should understand why the price is so low. This good can't be returned.
Because that's very interesting, actually, because a lot of companies might know about intellectual property and commercial law, but it's the average consumer that doesn't really know their rights. I mean, is that right?
Exactly. So when I told her that, no, the company went wrong way, because law says absolutely different, law has absolutely different positions, so I gave her the number of an article in this law, and she went to the shop and said, sorry, I went to a lawyer. What do I have now? And they said, okay, please give us 1 day, we will go to a lawyer too. And 2 or 3 days later, they took this t-shirt and bring her money back.
Oh, wow. It sounds like you provide an excellent service to you.
I was happy.
And can you tell us about different projects which are involved in helping consumers in Ukraine? I mean, are there many different organizations, not just lawyers, but perhaps different places where people can get advice? I mean, for example, Your Rights and the Law is one. Can you tell us a bit more about these organizations and how important they are for the consumer?
Actually, as I know from many of my colleagues, all of them are trying to help people who need help, just to give simple advices, just to talk to them for 5 or maybe 10 minutes, and mostly it's for free. It's like kind of charity, kind of pro bono programs, just to help people to organize their life better, to know more about their rights. There are some projects I'd like to tell you about. The newest one, it started end of October, and I was invited to this project by Christina Demkovich. And this project is about to share the information, to share very simple but very important knowledge about rights in our everyday situations, about violations, and about how to protect them without going to a court, how to protect them in very simple ways. There are these ways work. Many people just don't know about it. Many people don't understand their rights. Many people think that law works for companies, for some organizations, but not for simple people. Some people think that since Soviet Union times, nothing changed in law. And if I say to this person that something was wrong in your activities, this person may answer, no. In 1975, when I worked somewhere, it was like this, and I was right. But now it is different now. So this project is devoted to share this information. We would like to make some events and also to share information via TV and radio, just to give people more information about what their rights are, what violations are, and how to protect them, how to stop violation, and how to protect their rights.
Anna, thank you very much for coming into our studio today to talk about this.
Thank you for having me here. It was really great.
Thank you. You've been watching UATV Head to Head. Today we've been talking about intellectual property rights and commercial law.